What if the Reagan Revolution never happened? What if, against all odds, Jimmy Carter overcame a national mood of discontent and won re-election in 1980? In this alternate timeline, the Cold War plays out very differently. The American economy takes another path, and U.S. politics, as we know it, is reshaped for generations. You won't believe how close some of these outcomes could have been, and what they might have meant for the world. Like and subscribe for more. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell for more history documentaries. Please watch the video till the end, as good interaction would help the performance of the video and the growth of my channel massively. How Carter won the 1980 election, turning the tides. In our real timeline, Ronald Reagan won in a landslide, taking 489 electoral votes to Jimmy Carter's 49. But in this alternate reality, several key factors play out differently. 1. The Iran hostage crisis ends early. Imagine the hostages in Tehran were released by mid-1980 through successful secret diplomacy or a more effective rescue mission. This removes the biggest symbol of Carter's perceived weakness. 2. Better economic signals. Instead of high inflation and interest rates dominating headlines, early signs of economic recovery in the summer and fall of 1980. Perhaps due to a more aggressive early push on anti-inflation policies by Carter's Federal Reserve appointee Paul Volcker, begin to shift public perception. 3. John Anderson splits the vote. In this timeline, John B. Anderson, a moderate Republican running as an independent, pulls more votes away from Reagan than from Carter. Combined with stronger black voter turnout and mobilization in the North, Carter flips key states like Ohio, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. 4. Reagan debate slip-up. In their final televised debate, Reagan makes a significant gaffe regarding nuclear policy or Medicare, raising doubts about his readiness, particularly among older voters. The result? A razor-thin Carter win. Jimmy Carter, 273 electoral votes. Ronald Reagan, 265 electoral votes. Just 3 votes above the 270 threshold, Carter narrowly secures a second term. The outcome shocks the GOP, invigorates the Democratic base, and pushes John Anderson into the role of a pivotal spoiler in political history. National reaction and political fallout. Southern Democrats are stunned but relieved that Carter, a native Georgian, survived. Northern liberals remain skeptical, but hopeful that Carter learned from his first term. John Anderson's supporters, largely moderates and independents, are divided. Some disappointed by Reagan's loss, others fearing more of the same from Carter. Ronald Reagan, while gracious in defeat, vows that conservatism isn't dead. His loss ignites a new ideological fire in the GOP that builds toward 1984. Carter's second term. Redemption or repeat. Cabinet and key figures. Carter reshuffles his cabinet to project strength. Zbigniew Brzezinski stays on as National Security Advisor. Paul Volcker remains at the Federal Reserve. Ted Kennedy's allies push for more progressive appointments in domestic policy. Economic policy. No Reaganomics, but reform. Instead of Reagan's sweeping tax cuts, Carter introduces a moderate tax reform bill in 1981, targeting inflation without fully adopting supply-side economics. Deregulation continues, especially in transportation and energy, a continuation from his first term. Volcker still leads the Fed through a painful tightening policy, but Carter backs him more publicly this time. The 1981-82 recession still occurs, but Carter pushes job programs tied to renewable energy development and infrastructure, a Green New Deal prototype decades ahead of its time. Cold War policies. No evil empire. The Soviet Union and military policy. Carter doesn't label the USSR an evil empire. He sticks with a policy of tough diplomacy, expanding arms talks, and continuing support for human rights activists in Eastern Europe. However, Carter does respond to the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan with increased funding to the Mujahideen, much like Reagan would have, though more covertly and with tighter oversight. He resists massive defense spending increases, focusing instead on high-tech weapons development and intelligence modernization rather than bulk military expansion. Foreign crises: Grenada, Lebanon, and Nicaragua. Invasion of Grenada. Carter, skeptical of direct military interventions, opts for regional diplomacy and international condemnation through the OAS. No invasion occurs. Lebanon intervention. Carter deploys peacekeepers but avoids the 1983 Beirut barracks bombing by insisting on tighter rules of engagement and pulling out earlier once conditions deteriorate. The Contras in Nicaragua. Carter refuses to fund the Contras. Instead, he pursues a negotiated solution and increases diplomatic pressure on the Sandinistas through multilateral channels. Iran-Contra never happens. Domestic crises and challenges. PATCO strike. Carter attempts to negotiate with striking air traffic controllers rather than firing them en masse like Reagan. The result is a more drawn-out negotiation, but no mass layoffs. This creates a precedent for labor engagement over confrontation. AIDS crisis. Though not significantly more proactive than Reagan initially, Carter's administration listens more to the CDC and public health officials, funding early research in 1983-1984. Public awareness grows faster, and stigma is reduced slightly, but systemic action still lags. War on drugs. Carter expands drug treatment programs over incarceration. There's less emphasis on militarization, but the crack epidemic still hits hard in major cities. Assassination attempt? A close call. A lone gunman attempts to shoot President Carter in March 1981, inspired by the same motives as John Hinckley Jr. in our timeline. Secret Service intervenes faster due to heightened post-1980 election tensions. Carter is wounded but survives, earning a brief surge in popularity and a new image of toughness. The 1984 election. Mondale versus the Reagan legacy. Vice President Walter Mondale runs in 1984, hoping to extend Carter's legacy. But without Reagan's unifying conservative message to rally the GOP, the Republicans are divided. George H.W. Bush emerges as the Republican nominee, promoting moderate conservatism. Mondale wins a narrow victory, becoming the first Democratic president elected after another Democrat since FDR Truman. Long-term impact and legacy. No Reagan revolution means no massive conservative realignment. Neoliberalism rises more slowly without Reagan's full-throated endorsement. The Cold War ends more diplomatically in the early 1990s, possibly even with a peaceful Soviet transition that looks more like Gorbachev's original vision. Carter's legacy is far more favorable in this timeline, seen as a moral, forward-thinking leader who saved the nation from division and economic collapse. He is remembered not as a weak president, but as the man who gave diplomacy, environmental reform, and human rights a second chance in American politics. Conclusion. In this alternate world, Jimmy Carter's second term changes the course of modern history, from Cold War dynamics to the domestic politics that shaped the 21st century. Reagan's loss delays the conservative wave, while Carter's resilience sets a new tone for American leadership. What do you think? Write your opinion and version of the story in the comments below. Please be polite and kind. If you want to know what would have happened if Cox defeated Harding in 1920, Click on the video on the left. Thanks for watching.